Well, right now I'm assisting my brother-in-law in building boats. He's working on a 24-foot Scandinavian launch called a Snecka. Being in New Hampshire is, working on the boats, it is most definitely a type of therapy. New Hampshire is a different pace of life than Sudan war zone. I mean, I came back and I was not the same person as when I left. You don't go through a situation like that, see those things, and come back and be the same person. I served in the Marine Corps for 4.5 years. I worked my way up to a captain. Got out and had no idea what I was going to do. I found this job on the internet to be it said patrol leader, Sudan. I had no idea what that was, and I applied for it, and I was standing in Khartoum airport a week after that. It took the first day to figure out what was happening there. Fighting was ongoing. There was military presence everywhere. Helicopter gunships were flying over, and then after a few days of orientation, head out on the first patrol, counting bodies. Never heard of anything like that before, besides Rwandan genocide. I hadn't heard of people hacking each other up and burning people alive. I mean, it's the 21st century. That doesn't happen, but it does. It happens every day in Sudan. In Sudan, it's where the Arabs from the Middle East migrated in, and they've met the African population. It's where the Arab world meets the African world. The Arabs are predominantly grazers, and they're nomadic, and so they move in and out of different areas. And the African populations are predominantly farmers, so they tend to stay put. And so there was always this conflict over who has the land rights to the area, similar to our conflicts between the ranchers and the farmers out in the West early on in our history of our country. And instead of a government like ours who stepped in the middle and separated the two and said, this is grazing, this is farming, the government, who is predominantly Arab, chose their Arab allies and took their side to fight against the African populations. The government of Sudan says that they fight against bandits. They blame the attacks on these villages and the killing of innocent civilians on these Janjaweed groups, which are the Arab militia groups. When I have seen clear evidence, I've taken pictures of it, them fighting side by side. We on the ground didn't distinguish between the Janjaweed and the government of Sudan as two separate groups. They were one entity. It's as if you had a regular army unit, let's say the 101st Airborne, fighting with a special forces unit, fighting side by side, killing innocent people. And I showed up on the ground first day, an attack on a marketplace by a helicopter gunship. The next day, a refugee camp had been attacked by the government of Sudan and Janjaweed, and I was just like, oh my God, did I get off the wrong helicopter? Where am I now? The government of Sudan doesn't just use small arms like these individuals, the Janjaweed, have. They use helicopter gunships. They say we don't use rockets from our gunships, yet I've seen the impacts, I've seen the wounds from them, I've seen the rounds themselves, the expent rounds, and taken pictures of them. We've even taken pictures of the helicopter gunships in action, flying over villages, firing on civilians. A couple of times we showed up when the village was beginning to be burnt. It hadn't even been burned yet. And we showed up and the looting and the burning was ongoing. Well, I shoot a Canon EOS 1D Mark II. It's 8.6 megapixels. I've got a 28 to 300 millimeter zoom lens with image stabilization. When you're shooting from a helicopter, you got a lot of vibration, and it's nice to be able to get clear shots. And sometimes you wish maybe you did have a rifle. Hanging out of a helicopter, seeing these guys burn these huts, stealing their stuff, and I'm looking through the camera and I'm in on them, and I get that red square and I take that picture, and it's like, sometimes I wish I could have been on a different side, trying to help these people more. But I think that by shooting the picture with my camera and bringing it back and sharing it, hopefully that can do more. This was one of the first photographs I took in Sudan. Her name is Mihad Hamid. She's 1 year old. The government attacked the village of Aliat. Her mother was carrying her, wrapped around the side of her with cloth, as they often do. And she was shot, entry wounded in the upper right side of her back and the exit wound in the lower left. She wasn't breathing very well at that time. She wasn't expected to live. Often when you encounter the people out in the IDP camps or in the villages, because I'm a white male, they automatically assume that I'm a doctor. And this day, she had thought I was a doctor. And she holds Mihad up to me to take a look at. And he hears a baby laying in her lap, barely breathing, and I motioned to her to please put the baby down, relax, and that actually kind of solidified in her mind that I was a doctor because I was telling her what to do with her child. Instead, all I was able to do was write my report and take the photograph. The women and the children, I believe, are the ones that feel the brunt of this. They're the ones that have to bear the entire weight of this conflict on them. It has been great to be able to spread the word as far as I can. Sometimes maybe it's only 50 people, sometimes maybe it's 300. But if I can touch one person, if I can make one person write their congressman or senator, if I can make one person call the president, if I can make one person, put a sign up that says "Save Darfur," then I've done my job, and I can go to the next place. Any of these situations, it leaves an impact on you. And working on the boats it's meditative. I mean, just carving a piece of wood has most definitely been a type of therapy for me to come back here and to be welcomed by friends and family, and to be at home, to be with a family, because I saw that is so important. I really, I saw these people's families torn apart, destroyed, everything they knew, everything they had, completely destroyed. And it's important for me to keep that, to keep that family, spend as much time as you can with each other, because we have no idea when it's going to end.